everybody. It's Dominic Rubino from Cabinetmakerprofitsystem.com. Thanks for joining us. We're going to be talking about today is the commercial contractor side of things. As you know, I deal a lot on this channel with business owner strategies for growth. And part of those strategies is getting more jobs, getting the right kind of jobs, and then obviously delivering those jobs in the most cost-effective way, all while giving you more time off to live the life that you've been dreaming of living for so long. So one of the things that's important to that is understanding the sales process. And for those of you who have just jumped in here, and this is maybe the first video or audio that you're listening to or watching, let me give you a big overview, a very high-level overview of Cabinet Maker Profit System and who I am to be speaking about sales for commercial contractors and commercial subtrades. Why the heck am I doing that, and who am I? Look at these hands. Do I look like I've ever been on the tools? You can still count 10 fingers. That's your first clue right there. So Cabinet Maker Profit System is an education site, and the job here is to provide education to the world of finished woodwork and associated trades and industries. So that means architectural woodworkers, cabinet makers, countertops, designers in some cases, people that make furniture, wood windows and doors and all that stuff. Anybody in our general industry can benefit from what we're talking about here, because what we talk about here is for business owners only, and that is the business owners of those kinds of companies. So I was at the NKBA last night, which is the National Kitchen and Bath Association. I've done work for AWMAC as well, and AWI, and lots of conversations there. So I'm very familiar with the industry and the trade. I've been a business coach for 18 years. And in that time, I've always worked with tradespeople. But I come at it from the office side, not the floor side, if you will. I also come at it from the entrepreneurial side. So I'm an entrepreneur and a business owner, and I've sold 2 multinational companies in the last 15 years. As of today, I'm in the process of selling one of those companies. And that particular company dealt a lot with training people in sales as well as business growth in general. My brand partner in that business is a gentleman by the name of Brian Tracy. And some of you may have seen Brian Tracy speak. Some of you have gone to his seminars or bought his, depending on how long ago you went, you would have bought his tapes, his cassette tapes. He's been in the industry that long. So if you know Tony Robbins, if you know Zig Ziglar, then you would know Brian Tracy. And Brian's a very big name in that world. And my job in building the company that I'm selling right now is building out his business coaching side. And I have a little over 200 business coaches around the world using the sales system that I'm going to talk to you about today, little bits of it here today. So that's where I come at this from. So I come at it from an entrepreneurship side, sales and sales management side, and also from understanding how to turn around a trades company so the owner can have time off, not work all the time, and also make the money they deserve to make, because you guys work hard, really hard, and you put your pride into everything that goes out the door, and yet all too often, you're not getting the rewards either in terms of money or in terms of the time you need to take care of your family, be there for your family, just go away for vacation. And those things are tragic and they don't need to be, which is why I exist. So that's what we're doing here at Cabinet Maker Profit System. So today, we're going to talk about how to win your commercial contract bids. It's a couple of quick points I want to take you through. What you'll know is that by coming back to the site, I'll be developing it more and more. So there will be more information as time goes on, so you can have even more depth on this. But number one, let's do this. I want you to understand, this is number one, I want you to understand your perfect job. See, every shop is set up differently, and it's set up differently really because of the machinery that you've bought, what that machinery can do, how you have it laid out on the floor, what your supplier relationships are, your credit facilities are, and what the skill level of your tradespeople is at. And so if you are really, really good at solid wood, then you're really good at solid wood jobs. If you're good at sheet wood jobs, or you've got just one more CNC than everybody else, you can churn out more boxes or finished goods with CNC than anybody else. So what is it that your shop is uniquely set up to do and that you're very, very profitable at? That's the very first thing that I want you to understand before we even look at the bids, because as you know, especially in this market right now, things are nuts. There's so much business that we're turning it away. That can't go on forever, but for now, let's go get as much as we can, and let's get the most profitable stuff. So first, understand your perfect client. Number two is only bid on your perfect client. That's it. There is the wisdom of Dominic Rubino in business coaching. You're smacking yourself going, hey, Rubino, why didn't I think of that? Well, You probably did. I'm just here to remind you that if you are thinking that, you're on the right track. So first, understand who's your ideal client, your perfect job. And then number two is only bid on your perfect jobs, because that way you're going to be able to produce that without any sweat. You're going to be able to make it, no problem. Everybody on the floor is just going to do their regular day producing what they know how to produce, and you're going to be able to make the most amount of money with the least amount of headache. And reducing headaches is a big part of business ownership, isn't it? So there's the first two things. Pretty simple. Okay, number three, bid with confidence by bidding in advance with enough time. So far too often, we are bidding on jobs at the last minute. We've left everything to the last minute. We didn't get quotes from our subs in. So if you're architecture millwork, let's say some of your subs might be glasswork, metalwork, upholstery, maybe even finishing in some cases, and you haven't given yourself enough time for those sub trades to get you a price back so you can put together your price to go forward. And so the way to change that is move your calendar forward a bit. Have a point in time, just one day every week, when you look at all the incoming bids and you prioritize them and you say, hey, listen, this one I'm going after. The other 5 that came in, I'm not even taking them. They came to info@cabinetmaker.com. We're not taking that. Anybody sends it to info@, we don't know. But if they send it straight to me and I know them and I've worked with that general contractor or that designer or that project manager before, all of those make it a better chance I'm going to get that job. And then when it's my perfect job, I know I can go hard at that particular one. So give yourself enough time. So by picking one day every week where you just look at incoming bids and just get rid of the ones you don't want, you now then take action and send it off to the glass guy, the steel, the metals guy, the upholstery people, whoever, and you get your bids back in time so you can put your bid forward. Just changing that one thing allows you to bid with confidence. And I think we've all been there when you win. Oh, I won the bid. I got the bid. Uh-oh, what did we miss? Why were we low? I don't want to be low. Why did we win this job? And then your stomach starts churning. Life doesn't have to be like that at all. A big part of what I do when I first start working with companies is fixing, that's called a broken system. And it's okay. You know, you have grown to the level you're at right now as a business just by, kids are listening to this. Cojones. Oh, some Spanish kids are listening to this. Do you know what I mean? You've just grown by your sheer moxie and you've gotten to this level, which is great. That's fine. To get to that next level that everybody talks about, you're going to have to do some things differently. And so I'm just asking you to do this one thing differently, right? Start looking at your bids on one specific day of the week and give yourself lots of time to bid on the jobs you want. And the ones you don't want, just get rid of them. Let somebody else take them. They're good at those jobs. All right. Have and use an estimating system. That's our next one. Have and use an estimating system. So there should be a process for estimating. There should be a system for estimating, even if it's very simple. And then you want to follow that system every single time. So how do we look at the bid? How do we break out the bid? How do we put in our costs? How do we allow for profit? How do we allow for wastage, labor, delivery times, certificate of significant completion? All of those things we need to think about in our estimating process so that we bid with confidence. That's the key. When you win a bid, I won that bid, not, oh man, what did I miss? Why did I get that bid? All right, so I want you to have and use an estimating system. The next one, is I want you to know your costs to a fanatical level. What are your costs? What's your cost per hour? What's your cost per man? What's your cost per linear foot? And by the way, that might not be the best way to be measuring things. Cost per linear foot for edge banding is very different if you're just edge banding 4x8 sheets versus 36 by 24 doors. It's not the same cost. Your cost per foot could vary a lot. It could change a lot. 4x8 sheets getting edge banded is one thing, but doing there's so much time that goes into the setup of smaller pieces, right? Or drawer faces. There's so much that goes into it. Your costs are going to change. And the better you know your costs, the tighter you can bid. The tighter you can bid, the more you can win, and the more you can win profitably. So spend some time. Go to your calendar right now and think about, okay, this month, I'm just going to be absolutely fanatical about understanding our costs. And by the way, there's some really simple systems for that. If you have questions on it, just contact me and maybe we can talk it through here, or I can guide you in the right direction. But there are some simple ways to figure out your costs without, overturning the whole shop or making everybody go crazy. But figure it out. Find a way to get that answer. That answer is the answer. That's the one you need. All right, so know your cost. The next one is something you might not be used to, but I'm going to ask you to add it to your process right now. I want you to call and ask great questions. Now, in some cases, you won't get great info, but in some cases, you get fantastic info, even if they don't answer the question. And it's the way people answer, not so much what they answer, right? So if I ask a question from let's say there's a project manager in charge of the bid process, and I call him up and his name is George. Just say his name is George. Hey, George, it's Dominic calling from Dominic's Millwork. I'm calling about the bid. Have you got a second? Yes. Great. Thanks. Haven't talked to you since we did the last job over at Park Place. Developed that little bit of relationship, blah, blah, blah. He knows what I'm trying to do, and I know what I'm trying to do. So just so I understand, how many people are bidding on this? If he says 5, then I have a good understanding. If he pauses for a second when I say, how many people are bidding on this? And he goes, a couple, then I already know there's a different answer there. Maybe he doesn't have enough people bidding. Maybe he's a little worried that he's not going to have enough answers in. That little tiny piece of info tells me a lot. It could also tell me that he just doesn't want to tell you the answer, and that's fine. I'm just going to keep asking some questions. I'm going to say something about, the back kitchen on the north side of the building that we're looking at. I understand the windows are a little bit of a different size. How do you think that's going to impact the cabinet depth? Blah, blah, blah. But I just want to have that conversation with them. And the reason I want to do that is because if I can add personality, if I can add me to the mix when they're making that decision, even just a little tiny bit, then that increases my value in that account. Now, this particular job is just one job. What I actually value most in this whole bid process is, I wonder if anybody's going to answer this for me, is George. George is actually the ongoing value. He's the annuity. He's the thing that's going to make me money in the future. So if George knows I'm going to call and I have a great conversation with him and I try to understand the job really well, maybe I'm not going to win this job. Maybe I won't even win the next job. But when George has to think about who he likes to deal with, who communicates a lot, who tries really hard to understand the jobs, or who should I call when the person that won the bid suddenly backs out, guess whose name comes up? Dominic's Millwork, which, by the way, at least for me, does not exist. So I'm not a competitor of yours. But you just want to be in that place. As a professional service provider, you want to be there as a resource for George, because George is actually worth more in the long run than the job you're bidding today. So just keep that in mind. That's one of the ways to win. And then the other thing I want you to do is follow up on all bids. I mean, we've already established that you're going after the bids that you know you can do and that you're profitable at, and your guys are really good at producing, and that you would love and be excited to do. So once you've done the bid, follow up and follow up and follow up and follow up. Questions are free. Phone calls are free. Follow up with George and say, hey, George, where are we at in the bid process? Because things happen even in the bid process. As we all know, people drop off, people change. Somebody who won the bid and then started to add costs later might start to make the general contractor a little bit angry, and they might say, hey, who else do we have in line for this? I don't want to deal with these guys anymore. Boom. Now suddenly you are the other voice in their ear and you get that job. Fair and square, you've earned it. So follow up and ask great questions, follow up on all the bids. And then finally, I want you to show proof you can do the job. And what that means is your website, or sending them something that shows that you have the proof, showing that you have the ability to do that. So if you bought a new machine recently, there's no reason you can't tell all the important general contractors and project managers that you deal with to say, hey, we now have the BSE so-and-so, which allows us to blah, 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 and do da-da-da, and send that out to everybody so they understand. We have a new panel saw. We have a new tile stone cutter, and that's going to allow us to do this for countertops. Whatever it is, be proud of that. Let them know who you are and that you're advancing and growing as a serious company. And you might think, oh my God, that's self-promotion, Dom. We don't really do that. You know what? You're right. That is self-promotion. I'm busted. You got me. Yes. This is my job. My job is to make you better. My only job is to work for you to make you better. That's all I'm here for. That's what a business coach does, a good one anyways. And so if you think of the Here's an analogy I've used before. The Knights of the Round Table were there to advise King Arthur. Well, that's what they're there for. And so, yeah, you can't see me. I'm in a semi-round table, but I'm one of the guys at the round table advising the king, and you, my friend, are the king. So yes, whatever I say is going to be for your benefit. And so yes, I want you to show proof and do a little bit of self-promotion and tell people that you are growing proudly as a company and you're able to handle any of the jobs they throw at you, especially rule number one, knowing my ideal job. Hey, this is enough for today. We've gone 16 minutes on bidding commercial jobs. There's a lot more to learn here, as you might imagine. I'm happy to share lots of information with you that I have through my years of dealing with very large architectural millworkers and cabinet makers and countertops and associated trades and industries. If you like this kind of stuff, please keep checking back to the channel. There will be more. If you have a business partner who has not yet listened to this or watched the video or read the transcript, then by all means, go to the website and just share the transcript with them. There's lots of free downloads. You can download those and just print it off and put it on their desk, or you can ask them to look at the YouTube video. I know some people are using these videos, specific ones, for training their team or having for themselves as a retreat as owners, just to start off a series of questions when they're trying to do some strategic planning, which is great. Actually, I love hearing that. That's what I do, is strategic planning. So if you're using this in that way, I think it's wonderful. Any questions you might have, contact me. The biggest reason people are contacting me right now is the 90-day Profit Lab, which you've probably seen on the website. Applications are open for that. Please go ahead and apply. The very first step there is we just get together on the phone for a few minutes to see if there's really any reason for us to talk. And if I can solve things on the phone, that's great. Then you walk away with some great solutions right there to go put in place. And if we need to talk further, then that will be decided by both of us. But yeah, the 90-day Profit Lab is open. It's a little crazy, I don't mind telling you, but it is open, and I like it. That's where I get my my energy from, is talking to people like you about the challenges you've got and what the opportunities are there. I have seen and heard it all. I mean, when you deal with family businesses, you deal with partnerships, and you deal with competitive pressures, the conversations that I've had. You know, this should really be a proper TV show, but I don't know how we would do it. It'd be a little bit like Suits and a little bit like the Flintstones, I think, in a crazy, weird way. But anyways, that's just a little look inside the world of Dom and business coaching. Thanks for checking in. I appreciate having you guys with me. I hope you get a lot of value from this. If there's a topic or a subject that you want me to develop, let me know. Shoot me a note and tell me about it. If you've listened to this on iTunes or on one of the other media players, please do me a favor and go back and leave a positive review. Well, leave an honest review. If you didn't like it, say that. If you did like it, say that. And the reason I ask that is so that others who follow after you will understand whether this kind of information is valuable or not. The better we all get at doing what we do, we just raise the whole level of the industry up, and that's what we're all trying to do. All right, everybody, have a great day. Thank you so much for checking in. We'll talk to you all soon.